Hi Wargaming fans, this is Mark from the Vanguards of Gaming, and today we have an exciting battle report between Ed's Ogre Kingdom and Mark's Dark Elves. This is a 2,000 point game. Let's start with the army list for the Dark Elves. We'll run through that. So we've got 20 Corsairs with a Sea Serpent standard. Next up we have 28 Warriors with a War Banner and shields. We have Witch Elves. They have a Banner of Eternal Flame in this game. 6 Cold One Knights. All of them have full command, and then they also have lances. We've got a Reaper Bolt Thrower. Right next to that, you'll see a Dreadlord. The Dreadlord has a lot of different attachments. He's got Blood Armor, Pendant of Clannette, which gives him a reverse ward save, and a Crown of Command, which is a killer combo, and he's awesome. And then we've also got a Sorceress on a Cold One. She's a level 2. She has a Dispel Scroll. The Standing Sorceress has a Shrieking Blade, giving her fear. We have our Sneaky Assassin right there. And then what I'm really excited about is a War Hydra. This is the first game I've ever played this War Hydra. Just finished painting it, so excited to see what it can do. And then we've also got our 16 Crossbowmen. So they're a useful thing to have. Let's go over and see the Ogre Kingdom list. Alright, so let's look at the Ogre Kingdom's army list. Starting off, we've got a Giant. Right next to him, we've got a Butcher, who has a Hellheart. We have 2 groups of 8 Ogres. We've got a Bruiser, 4 Lead Belchers, and 8 Iron Guts. And also the Iron Guts have a Gleaming Pendant. The Tyrant has a bunch of stuff. He's got a Giant's Blade, an Enchanted Shield, a Pigeon Plucker Pendant, and Giant Breaker. So a lot of great things going on at the Ogre Kingdom. Let's check out the terrain. So you'll see that we've got on the left a Dark Elf Tower. We've got a Wizard's Tower kind of in the middle to the left. Also, we have a Watchtower in pretty much the center of the map. On the far right, you'll see a kind of altar-y thing that you can use for Storms of Magic, but for this we're just using it for terrain. And then kind of like a box of ruins on the other side of the map. So check it out. We've got our tower, Wizard Tower, and what that really creates is it's kind of some fighting lanes. That there's some pinch points in there, and we've also got a setup of a bridge on the far end of the map. So that's our terrain. Talking about deployment, we'll start on the Ogre Kingdom side. On the far end of the table, we've got a Giant. Then you've got the 2 units of Ogres, one of which is joined by the Tyrant, the other is joined by the Butcher. Then we've got our Iron Guts, and farther over we've got our Lead Belchers. So that's the lineup for the Ogre Kingdoms. On our Dark Elf side, we start on the same side as the Giant. We've got the Hydra, then the Reaper Bolt Thrower, Dreadlord, Warriors, Sorceress. Moving over to the other side, we've got our Crossbowmen, and next to them are the Cold One Knights. Then we've got our Corsairs, the Sorceress who's on a Cold One, and our Witch Elves. So that's the lineup for the deployment. Let's see how this battle plays out. Alright, the Ogre Kingdom had the first turn. So they make their moves first. We've got the Giant moves forward, closer up. The 2 groups of Ogres move forward with the Butcher, and I'll talk about magic in a second. And then also the Iron Guts move forward, and you'll see the Lead Belchers over there kind of sneaking over the ridge to get some shots in. Magic-wise, the Butcher makes some attempts on some Brain Gobbler and Bone Cruncher, one of which I dispelled with a Dispel Scroll. The other one I had to dispel manually, so neither of them go off, and it's a pretty quiet magic phase. But shooting phase, you'll see these Lead Belchers come out here, and those poor Witch Elves who have no armor. So they blast away, and they kill all but 2 of the Witch Elves. So they really hate the guys that aren't painted and get them off the board really quickly. That's the end of Ogre Kingdom turn 1, but let's take a look at Dark Elf turn 1. As the Hydra moves forward in between the Wizard's Tower and the Watchtower. You also see the Dreadlord, the Warriors, and the Sorceress moving forward, but they only move forward their normal 5. I think they all move forward 5 because they don't want to be too close to the oncoming ogres coming through that little fighting hole. And then also we have the cold ones and the corsairs move forward. The cold ones move forward a lot. The corsairs also march, so they get up nice and close. And the sorcerers there moving forward as well. You also see the two remaining witch elves kind of lining up to fight. For whatever reason, they didn't fail their check, and they're still on the board, so they keep fighting. And we'll get to see a nice little overview of the battle here. We have that giant coming around the tower. Everybody else is kind of fighting through the middle of those two things. You'll get a nice view here of the warriors, what they're getting to see. A little terrifying. Also, just another view of the other side of the map. Those two witch elves look hilarious, just hanging out, getting ready to fight. And next up, we have our magic phase, which does not go very well. I didn't know about Hell Hearts until one happened, but the Hell Heart's really cool. And what it does is, after the Winds of Magic, all wizards have to take a miscast table test. And he just happened to roll really high, so it was everybody within 30 inches had to take that miscast. And I had two sorceresses within 30 inches. One of the sorceresses was fine and took a wound, the standing one, but you'll see right here, the one on a cold one has some sort of horrible miscast, and she literally gets sucked away into the chaos dimension and is gone forever. So it was a bad day for her. Hopefully next game she gets some more fighting in, but she did pretty much nothing this game. Luckily for the Dark Elves, we had plenty of shooting going on. So our repeater crossbows and bolt thrower both shot at oncoming ogres. They took out two in the group that had the butcher. So it was a successful shooting round. And that was the end of Dark Elf turn 1. Ogre Kingdoms turn 2 gets a little bit more exciting. We've got the Iron Guts round the watchtower here. So nothing really exciting there. But then there's successful charges with different groups. So this ogre group, successful charge. The ogre group with the butcher that just got shot charges forward into the warriors group. They're pretty powerful when they get the charge because they get impact hits. The other ogre group just kind of moves forward a little bit, preparing to charge or do reinforcements for the next round. So there's them with the tyrant. And then they're also in a battle with the dreadlord. So the dreadlord's there as well. The crossbowmen are just kind of hanging out. And you'll see right here the sorceress, the one that just took a wound from her miscast, isn't really in the battle. She's really close, but I started her farther back than the other units, so she's not even included in that battle. We get an overview here of the whole battle, and then pow! There's the assassin. He pops out in the warriors group, as he normally does. So the assassin and the dreadlord were in that battle with the ogres. What happens is, I think the Dark Elves lose like 11 people. There's a lot of impact hits, a lot of stomps, and they manage to kill 3 ogres, which are all 3 wounds each, but regardless, the warriors lose that combat. They take a check, they're totally alright, and that battle continues to go on. In the magic phase, he successfully casts Bullgorger and Blood Gruel. So the one gives him +1 strength for the unit. He chooses the unit that's fighting with the warriors. And then also, he gets back a wound on the butcher. The butcher previously took a wound from some of the spells that he was doing. So that's that. He earns a wound back. That battle continues. And it's on to Dark Elf turn 2.